it didn't seem like there was a million. When I went, I didn't see a million things in 2016. Right? I was like, damn, 2016. What stuck out to me? And that's when it hit me. Fucking The Life of Pablo, bro. That Ye album was 2016, and that to me that Ye album was a big record, man. I remember all the hoopla around The Life of Pablo. I remember the listening party. You know what I'm saying? And what Optiks? He did the listening party in like Madison Square Garden or
Yeah, I
some
think he did
shit,
it at MSG.
right?
Local
He
New
had
York
the ill,
venue, small
yeah, he
venue.
had the ill
Yeah.
Life of Pablo sweater. I
Thank you.
remember, Pusha T next to him, and they was playing the joints on the joint. I remember he was he did like a thing where where the fans was trying to guess the name of the album or something like that, like before it was called The Life of Pablo. That album was probably in my opinion, the last. This is gonna sound crazy because I was gonna say like the last sane Ye, but he wasn't sane then either. So like, but it was like the last. It was like the last like before he went ultimate crazy Ye.
The last glimmer of sanity.
He was committed to UCLA that year.
Well,
I remember that.
What part of the year was he committed? Because maybe this came out before then.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I think it did.
Yeah.
But like, since then he's completely gone off the deep end, right? Like it's gone in a lot of different ways we didn't expect. But this was like the last of like a like quote unquote like close to a normal sounding Ye to some extent. And then I remember like even that gets pushed because the album had it had like the evergreen concept where he was like, yeah, the album's out, but like I'm about to change lyrics and I'm about to change a beat and I'm about to change a track list.
Well,
So you're like, wait, what
it was the
fuck?
infamous
The album's
tweet that was I'm a fix wolves, which was like, it had been put out and he was going to change it. It's funny you bring it up because this eliminates it now, but this was going to be my pick from something that I wanted to leave behind, which is this exactly. Finish the album and then put it out. I don't want like a notes draft that you're editing in real time when I already have it on my phone. I'm gonna hop in here for a second. I don't want to cut you off, Midas, but
No, by
this
all
is the
means,
back and
by
forth
all
we have.
means.
I got into some heated debates with people about this album because I'll say that I was not as enamored with it as a lot of my peers. I do think it does have some great moments, and I totally can understand picking it as a core moment of 2016 because it just dominated so much of the discourse. But I remember specifically having a pretty heated debate with Cap Callis. I remember where I was. I was in my car on the phone with him, and he was telling me like, "This is one of the best Ye albums. What are you talking about?" I was like, "Bro, this is gonna age like sour milk." And I will say that again, outside of a couple songs that I might run back from time to time, this is not my favorite Ye. This feels to me like demos, like kind of like work in progress. And I understand that maybe that was the conceit that he had behind it, but I also think that this is the sound of a man unraveling and perhaps not being able to commit to finishing things. So yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm not trying to shit all over your pick
what I
here,
will
but
say is, although it's not my favorite Ye album by any stretch of the imagination, it does have one of my favorite Ye songs on it.
What's that?
Which is 30 Hours, which I love. You know what I'm saying? And there's some highlights on this album that are pretty high. So yeah, nah.
No more parties in LA.
No more parties
No
in
more
LA.
parties in LA.
Actually, I was out in LA. We went to a party. So
yeah, no, it's the concept didn't stick. I like Real Friends. I feel like Real Friends was good. It might be the last Kanye song that I can like enjoy. Look, I just want to be clear. I'm completely separating this from like any of the antics. I was not rocking with Ye on a musical level before I was not rocking with him on a decency level, on a character level, I guess. But no, this was an important moment. I'm not mad at that as your pick.
So that's what I'll take.
Lyric, you've been very quiet. Any thoughts on Ye, Pablo? No, say no.
Talk about Kanye.
Got it.
Disrespectfully.
That is a good practice. I might need to pull that practice out because it's rough out here when you pull Kanye out.
To talk about 2016 and not mention him is tough because it was kind of thin that year.
It was.
Not
He
for
was a
me.
big deal
But
that year.
yeah, we're not.
Lyric's
But I
like,
mean, we're
fuck off.
talking about the culture as a whole. Like it wasn't big for me other than like him
There was
getting
a
a
lot
match.
that happened that was not Kanye related. But
Let's
that's why
get
we
it.
have this segment, right? Like to kind of shine light on it. So yeah,
Right.
he was getting on my nerves all year. I'll say that.
All right, so that is your pick. Optics, what is your pick for your core moment of 2016?
I'm gonna. It's funny. I had a whole list, and I'm like, oh, I got to just narrow this down to one of these things. So I mean, core of 2016 to me really gets down to two, but I'm gonna give it to the more specific kind of. Actually, you know what? Fuck that. I'm giving it to the producer. I'm a producer. Metro Boomin.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know, probably the biggest song from the Kanye, Father Stretch My Hands, produced by Metro Boomin. Biggest song of the year, Bad and Bougie, Metro Boomin.
Mm.
He had
Oh,
that
that was
at the
Bad
end
and
of the year,
Bougie
that
year.
Post Malone song I didn't really care for, but that shit was huge. And yeah, I mean, just a lot of the best. He had an album with 21 Savage that was big. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like this was like the peak year of him being like the hottest producer that was out on a mainstream level.
Damn, I forgot about Bad and Bougie coming out that year. Bad and Bougie was a monsoon.
Yeah,
Was a big
yeah,
one.
and I won't ruin what my second pick was. But yeah, I mean, somebody throw that in there. But Metro Boomin produced that, so of course. And I mean, you know, not only was that the biggest song of the year, but it's like that shit was hard. Like it's
It
not like
was.
type of shit that I go to. We heard it so much that year that I didn't have to go listen to it on my own. But when I listened to it like an hour ago on my own, me and my roommate were sitting here like, oh, this is hard. Like this is dope.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't heard it in years at this point.
Yeah. Bad and Bougie was one of those joints that the Heads was fucking with, just like the Heads was like, even if you was one of them like real grouchy old heads, you could still you know
Yeah,
well, you
well, the
know.
beat, and this is what I love about Metro Boomin was like, you know, the beat still had some dirt on,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like that beat absolutely did. And then Offset's verse was crazy.
Yeah. That joint was crazy. Yeah.
It
Lil
was a
Uzi Vert
great.
didn't need to be on it probably, but I had to
Okay, I
go
mean,
skip ahead to his verse because I couldn't remember it.
Yeah, I mean, Uzi did his thing on that too. He kind of came in with the, you know what I mean? Yeah, nah.
But yeah, I had to like remember it. I couldn't remember.
Metro Boomin makes really a great. He is a great producer in not my favorite lane of hip hop, but he is exceptionally great at it. The only other thing I'll add is that equally lodged in my brain because I'm such a ham and like I enjoy comedy is that somebody I remember did a really great mashup of Bad and Bougie with Rick James Super Freak, or it might have been MC Hammer's Can't Touch This, and it works so well. If you haven't seen that,
Might have
it's
heard
on YouTube. You can check it out. It's like fantastic. If you want a decidedly not Metro Boomin take on Bad and Bougie, but it's fun. It's a fun one. All right, so that was your pick. Lyric, you're up next. What is your core 2016?
So mine's is a little sad, but I can't think of this year without thinking of it. Fife passed in 2016. He passed in April, and that, you know, kind of shattered my world because that was big bro, mentor. And also, you know, I guess it is an album because Thank You for Your Service also dropped that year. So that was very impactful for me as a hip hop head as well because Tribe got back together, put an
Yes.
album out. And then we kind of lost Fife. A lot happened in 2016, but when I think back about that year, I think about the funeral at, Apollo. That was my first time seeing D'Angelo live as well.
Mm.
I also was in New York and, during that time. So Fife kind of was like a nucleus. His passing was a nucleus around a lot of things that kind of happened. So I'm a big Tribe head. So all this other stuff is accessories to me when I think about it because Fife kind of was it, you know? Um, so that was, to me, I can't really think about 2016 without thinking about that and Tribe getting back together.
Man, when Tribe You know, the crazy thing is the Tribe album dropped right around the election too, and so it
Yeah.
just felt like such a crazy time. I remember like the SNL performance and how they brought down the banner of Fife when they did the space program, the song from the first song off of "We Got It From Here." Thanks for your service. It was a really like powerful moment. They had Busta up there in Consequence,
I
and
remember. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah,
Mhm.
that was like that was actually one of my contenders for 2016
One
core.
of mine too.
Yeah, and they, you know, shout out to Tribe. I think doing like the album, the posthumous album, because if I'm remembering correctly, the album dropped after Five Passed,
Yeah.
right?
It was like
Yeah,
everything, they were in promo mode. They were like on
right.
like in a whole promo rollout. They were back together. We were seeing rehearsals and
Yeah,
I was just like, yes! I was just so happy.
right.
March. Boom.
That's
You know,
right.
that and that started that's first quarter. That started the year off. So for me, it was just like, although 2016, we're gonna get into the other rounds where I'm gonna kind of elaborate more on this, but it had a lot of peaks and valleys for me personally. So
Sure.
that was such a low, low moment. But then like the next month, I had a very high moment.
Yeah.
know, then it was like, oh, I wish Pipe was here, and then it was sad, then it was up, then it was down. But that definitely is something that I cannot that cemented 2016 for me is both things happening in the same year. The album plus Five passing.
Yeah. We talk about the Tribe album, we've talked about it a bit, and well, actually, I don't even know. My brain gets so blurry now, like, did I talk about this on a podcast or just talk about this with one of my friends? But the Tribe album is a really great, moment of blending that, you know, posthumous albums can be weird, sometimes they're not done the best, like, the way that they utilized Fife's voice, and contributions on that record, I don't know how much, you know, if they would have done more, I assume that they would have because obviously Fife's not on every song. But the way that the album is put together, he really is there. He's like a big factor of the album, and I really admired that. For Tribe to put out an album that was so good after so long since their last album and used all of the components and the way that, you know, they honored Fife and Fife, but it wasn't just like Fife on some like, oh, he's not here. He's on so many of the songs, and the interplay with him and Tip is like amazing. So I really, that Tribe album definitely hit me in all the right ways when it dropped.
Yeah. Rest in peace to Fife.
Rest in peace, Fife.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Yes. All right, so I'm coming up now with my core, and Tribe was at the top of mine, so I'm gonna have to go with my second pick. Um, Anderson .Paak dropped what I believe may be the best album of his career, Malibu.
Yeah.
Uh, Malibu is a perfect record to me, and you know, it's funny. I was sort of around and in the Aftermath camp in the previous year, 2015, because I was working and I wound up being on the Compton album, and I was basically there when this guy with long hair, with like, you know, he had the braids started coming through. It's like, oh, this is this guy Anderson. He's gonna sing maybe a couple songs or something. Album comes out. Anderson is on almost every freaking song on the album. And that was interesting to see that. I kind of knew a little bit about him, but I wasn't like super up on him at that point. And
Breezy
obviously, like,
Lovejoy.
Breezy Lovejoy, yep. You know, some of the No Worries, like Suede was like already starting to percolate in that way. Um, I remember that Malibu came out in January of 2016.
Or did.
And it to me was such an amazing album that solidified him as a voice, as an artist, as a songwriter, as an instrumentalist, as one of the best live performers that I had seen in quite some time. You know, I'm sure, Lyric, you can appreciate this, like drumming while singing, drumming while rapping. Look, I don't care. It's not like he's the first to have done it. There certainly have been others before and since, but people who can do that well, it's like, yo, like it's a spectacle. It's like it's a feat to see. And I just loved, I remember like when I think one of the first songs that I heard off of that album was the song with Game that was produced by like the Room in Here song. And I was like this album is gonna be crazy. Like, that is just one of my favorites from the album. Anderson .Paak. Like, I'm gonna give it to Anderson .Paak in Malibu. He erupted onto the scene and clearly has had a very fruitful career since Malibu.
Word. Can we add honorable mentions if something wasn't mentioned, or
We'll do honorable mentions at the end. We'll
okay?
we'll we'll,
Yeah,
we'll, we'll slide them in. Yeah,
Just in
yeah.
case somebody said,
well, so I'm mad at you, brother, because I definitely had Anderson .Paak on my list here, and now he's been taken off the board. But the problem is, you know me, I had no worries on the joint. And
Yeah.
Sean and I, for the listeners, Sean and I have argued for many millennia, Malibu versus No Worries. Because I remember Sean calling me like, "Yo, have you heard this Malibu?" And Sean is the one who introduced me to Anderson .Paak. I wasn't up on that, and he was because he was just really hype on Malibu. Yo, check this Malibu shit out. Now, here's what's really interesting about this. I didn't hear No Worries in 2016. I didn't hear No Worries until like 2020, probably. Like, I was off the radar for that, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I don't like Malibu very much. So when Sean played Malibu for me, I was like, all right, all right. It didn't move me. And it didn't move me so much that I wasn't checking for right, lyric was down.
Lyric checked out.
It didn't move me so much that I wasn't checking for no Anderson .Paak. So when No Worries came out, it was like, what's No Worries? I was like, oh, Knowledge is dope. I was like, but it's Anderson .Paak. I'm kind of straight. And I just didn't even check it. I had no interest. I think probably like in late 20, I heard, that's when I heard Suede. And I was like, this is stupid. What the fuck is this? And I was like, this came out 4 years ago? Like, what the fuck? And then I went back and did the Knowledge, and No Worries is
No pun intended. You did the Knowledge.
I did the Knowledge. You know what I mean? No Worries for me is like, No Worries inhabits this. This is gonna sound blasphemous, but it inhabits the same space for me as like how I felt about hearing like Voodoo. Like, I love Yes Lord. Like, Yes Lord is I don't know. It hits a metronome for me. So I had Yes Lord on there, but and I totally forgot in good old fashioned that Malibu was the same year as well. Like, I wasn't looking for it. I still haven't really gone back to Malibu.
Okay, I was going to ask if you warmed up to it, but you haven't even revisited it at this point. I'd be curious to know if now that you're really more in the No Worries camp, that maybe they are very different records, but I would just wonder if you would favor it more now.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been as my albums would tell you, I'm not like a big like instrumentalist guy. Like, I'm a dirty sample guy. You know what I'm saying? So like, if an album it has a lot of if it's produced by a band, I'm probably not that interested. Most likely, generally speaking, because that's not really my vibe. So that, I think, from a production standpoint, it's more of what didn't really tickle my fancy.
Interesting.
That was kind of the same for me. Like, I like Malibu, but I didn't listen to it a lot.
Yeah.
But Anderson .Paak was everywhere that year. Like, I remember being at South by Southwest.
He was all over Compton, but that was what, the year before?
Well, that was before.
Yeah.
But then, like South by Southwest, he was everywhere, and caught him at the Stones Throw anniversary show, and that was dope. But pardon the snowplows, probably all in the audio. But that was he was on my list before I like whittled it down to try to pick my core moment or core.
Let's not forget that 2016 was also the year that he did the Tiny Desk on NPR, which might be the best Tiny Desk. Maybe half of you are not going to agree with me now that you've aired your Malibu hatred and broken compasses on this. But yes, the Malibu or the Anderson Tiny Desk is impeccable. And, I think just really showed. I think I wound up seeing Anderson maybe twice in LA that year. And it was just like, okay, he's really good. Like he's a great performer.
He's a special talent.